The headlines: House panel junks impeachment cases against President Marcos due to insufficient substance.
Social weather station says 40% of Filipinos are satisfied with president's work.
Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco denies self-promotion attempts and cites only exercise of duty.
The finalization of South China Sea Code of Conduct delayed due to clashes between Chinese embassy and government officials, says Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Spain carries out measures against social media threat in World Government Summit. Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News Thread. The details on our broadcast. The preliminary process for President Marcos's impeachment cases has ended at the House committee level, with the House panel declaring the two cases insufficient in substance.
Due to this, the opposition group argued that the decision was a clear indication of how the panel tried to block the process of accountability. Details on this report.
That concludes the voting on the sufficiency or insufficiency of substance of the two impeachment complaints.
The House Committee on Justice on Wednesday declared the two impeachment complaints against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. as insufficient in substance. On Tuesday, members of the committee deliberated on the 5 grounds cited in the impeachment complaint filed by attorney Andre De Jesus, endorsed by Pusong Pinoy Representative Jet Nisay, and the complaint filed by Liza Largoza Masa, Teddy Casino et al., endorsed by 3 members of Makabayan Bloc. On the first impeachment complaints declaring the complaint is insufficient in substance motion, 42 lawmakers voted in favor, with only Nisay voting no and 3 abstentions.
The impeachment complaint of De Jesus, insufficient in substance.
Meanwhile, the second complaint, filed by Masa et al., which sought a declaration of sufficiency in substance, garnered 7 affirmative votes, 39 votes against, and no abstentions.
Declares the Masa et al. Impeachment complaint insufficient in substance.
According to Gabriela Women's Party Representative Sara Elago, the dismissal of the impeachment complaints at the stage of determining sufficiency in substance clearly shows an attempt by the House to block the process of accountability and allegedly shield the president from any investigation. Meanwhile, House Assistant Minority Leader and Kabataan Party List Representative Attorney Renico argued that the basis of the complaints was clearly laid out. She said all their allegations met the standards set by the committee. She added that if the House halts the process and refrains from conducting an investigation, corruption involving flood control projects may continue. Meanwhile, according to Palace Press Officer and Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro, the President welcomed the dismissal of the impeachment complaints against him. She said the President maintains that the proper process in Congress was followed and that the truth has prevailed. The President added that his focus now returns to growing the economy and pursuing projects that will uplift the lives of every Filipino. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
40% of Filipino adults remain satisfied with President Bongbong Marcos' performance, according to the latest survey released by the social weather station for the fourth quarter of 2025. Here's Mia Layagin for the details.
The social weather stations reported a slight increase on the satisfaction ratings of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on November 2025. Based on the latest survey released on February 3, SWS noted that 40% of Filipino adults remain satisfied with BBBM's performance, 1 point higher than of September's tally. His highest satisfaction ratings came from Balanced Luzon at 46%, followed by Visayas at 44%, NCR at 34%, and lowest from Mindanao with 28%. Marcos also received the highest satisfaction scores from the male population and from 55 years old and above, composing 42% and 51% of his grade respectively. On the other hand, 43% expressed dissatisfaction with PBBM on November, 1% lower from September's results. The highest dissatisfaction came from Mindanao at 56%. 17% remain undecided. The survey was conducted from November 24 to 30, 2025 through face-to-face interviews with 1,200 Filipino adults nationwide. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
In a Senate committee hearing on tourism yesterday, Senator Raffy Tulfo questioned the frequent appearances of Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco on several promotional materials of the agency. Frasco, on the other hand, denied the allegations that she is promoting herself and is only exercising her duty. More from Mia Layagin's report.
Over the past few weeks, netizens have had mixed reactions over the tourism-related promotional pictures from the Department of Tourism featuring tourist spots in the country. Despite the tourism promotion goals of these measures, many have pointed out how DOT Secretary Cristina Garcia Frasco's image seemed to be promoted instead of the tourist spots. This was the center of Senate Committee on Tourism's discussion yesterday, with Senator Raffy Tulfo questioning the featuring of Frasco's images on tourism-related materials and content.
Parang lumilitaw na ikaw ay nagiging vlogger na it will not sell pag doon sa mga marketing materials natin puro mukha mong nakalagay doon. It shouldn't happen. Presence mo doon, yun sa picture na yan, it doesn't fit in sa taste ng mga Pilipino na nakakita po niyan. Kaya nga po binabash po kayo. Hanggang sa pumunta po sila sa action center ko para magreklamo. Nung malaman nila magkakaroon ng hearing ng ganito, they came to my office and they told me na ito yung baka pwede may parating sa Department of Tourism. That's why I'm trying to voice it out today here in the hearing. Okay. So, kasi ang nangyari, ma'am, ang dating daw sa kanila parang pinopromote mo yung sarili mo versus dapat yung Pilipinas ang pinopromote mo o yung mga probinsya ang pinopromote mo versus you promoting yourself. Yun po yung dating sa mga tao. Hindi po sa akin yun ha. That's not from me, from them.
In her defense, Frasco noted that most of the raised photos, including the Japanese magazine feature and the tarpaulin in Boracay Port, are not done under the agency's orders. She argued that she have not consented to be featured nor her photos to be used on such materials and outputs. In relation to the photos on Lake Cebu, Frasco said that these are work photos which are part of the agency's documentation of its work activities. During the Kapihan sa Manila Bay Forum on Wednesday, Frasco reiterated her position over the issue and denied attempts of self-promotion. She emphasized that no public funds was also used for the publication of such materials. Frasco also noted that her appearance and visibility is a proof of work and not for self-promotion.
That I had absolutely nothing to do with this magazine, on one hand, and I've done nothing but work as hard as I can and be as present as possible in our destinations and for our stakeholders. That has somehow been vilified for some national political ambition of which I do not have. The Filipino people do not deserve anything less. And that is to have a tourism secretary who shows up again and again, who is there in times of calamity as well as celebration for our islands, and he is there to make sure that the tourism industry continues to deliver livelihoods and jobs. That is the extent of what I have done. I have not stolen a single peso of government funds. I have not committed a single act of corruption. All I have done is work.
Moreover, she argued that there is no need for self-promotion as she does not aspire any national post for 2028 and that the issue should not be viewed politically.
I will say it again with a clear conscience and with full confidence. I have no intention of running for any national position. Therefore, it makes absolutely no sense for me to promote myself.
She assured, however, that the agency is now investigating the said materials, which were published without authorization and consent. She also ordered the removal of all tourism-related materials featuring her across all regional offices. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
Treason. This is what the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, said about those who support the claims of China undermining the claims of the Philippines. Henry Nicolas tells us more.
Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, said supporting China's claims while undermining the Philippines' claims is a treason. According to Tariela, the ongoing debate among elected officials in the WPS stems from the alleged interest of the People's Republic of China. This includes direct verbal attacks and statements issued by the Chinese embassy on their social media platform. The issue recently sparked a heated argument between Senator Rodante Marcoleta and Senator Kiko Pangilinan regarding the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone as established by the 2016 arbitral ruling. Marcoleta claimed there are no specific computation or coordinates defining the WPS. Pangilinan, however, emphasized that 2016 arbitral award grants the Philippines rights over more than 500,000 square kilometers in the South China Sea. Tariela asserted that the situation in the South China Sea will not subside if China continues its propaganda and bullying tactics. In a recent post, he maintained that PCG has nothing to explain and only release truths, not fabrications. Everything is documentation, not exaggeration, Tariela stated, referring to the receipts evidence provided by the Philippine government. Meanwhile, the Chinese embassy claimed that it was the Philippines' repeated infringements and provocations in attempt to advance its illegal claims unilaterally that caused the tensions in the South China Sea in recent years. China added they were forced to take necessary measures in accordance with the law to safeguard its lawful rights and interests. The embassy also highlighted the increase in Philippine military activity, noting that the country conducted 29 joint military drills between 2024 and 2025. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
Following the heated argument between senators and Chinese embassy in the past week, both parties expressed their readiness to discuss their disagreements. Here's my report.
Newly appointed Senate Committee on Foreign Relations Chair Erwin Tulfo confirmed Wednesday that the word war between Chinese embassy and government officials have caused delay on the finalization of the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea. Tulfo made these remarks during his visit to the office of the Department of Foreign Affairs in Pasay City.
So dapat siguro tignan na rin ng mga leaders po nila o yung mga commanders nila yung mga statements before issuing statements po siguro. Kasi may mga ongoing po na negotiations, dialogue, medyo maka-apekto po. Imbis na mapaganda, hindi po natutuloy. Kagaya po yung Code of Conduct na tinatapos na lamang po, naantala pa for this past few days because of that.
Despite this, Tulfo noted that this doesn't mean to back out on the statements being released by the government officials and lawmakers because of the ruling that sided on the Philippines over the territorial disputes. The senator hopes to finalize the Code of Conduct to stop the harassments and illegal intrusions of China in the West Philippine Sea.
Pero I'm not saying po na we hold back on our statements pagdating sa claim po natin sa West Philippine Sea. Tapos kung meron naman po talaga nangyayaring sakitan, kailangan po natin isabihin sa taong bayan na may ganung ongoing na pangyayari. Kaya nga po, minamadali po yung Code of Conduct para maiwasan na po itong sakitan, maiwasan na po yung tinataboy yung mga mangingisda natin. Kasi I believe isa sa mga nakapaloob doon sa Code of Conduct.
Tulfo adds the upper chamber is open for the dialogue with the Chinese embassy amid the heated exchanges between China's diplomat and the government officials. The senator confirms that Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro relayed to him that a Chinese ambassador is open for a meeting with the Senate. Senate President Vicente Soto III announced Wednesday that the upper chamber is ready to adopt the resolution condemning China's indecent remarks against lawmakers and other public officials. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
Travel tax has become an added burden and is no longer appropriate under the current economic conditions of the country. That is what House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos stated. Following this, he proposed the immediate abolition of travel tax. Shaimura ay Catherine Landicho tells us more.
House Majority Leader Sandra Marcos has proposed the immediate abolition of the travel tax, saying it is no longer appropriate under current economic conditions and has become an added burden on Filipino travelers. Under House Bill number 7443, the proposal seeks to repeal the travel tax imposed under the Presidential Decree number 1183 and the Tourism Act of 2009. Marcos explained that the travel tax amounting to 2,700 pesos for the first-class passengers and 1,620 pesos for the economy class travelers adds to the cost of travels and discourage Filipinos from traveling for work, family obligations, and other opportunities. He emphasized that for Filipino families, travel expenses quickly add up, consuming funds that could otherwise be used for basic necessities. Marcos also pointed out that the Philippines has become an outlier in the region, as many ASEAN countries have already abolished similar taxes to boost tourism and trade. Under the proposed measure, funding for the agencies currently benefit from the travel tax, such as the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority, the Commission on Higher Education or CHED, and the National Commission for Culture and the Arts will instead be sourced from the General Appropriations Act. Marcos said reducing travel costs would help stimulate economic growth, strengthen tourism and small businesses, and make it easier for Filipinos to move within and outside the country. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
President Ferdinand Marcos and the Department of Transportation has laid out measures to improve commuters' experience. That includes implementing reforms to prevent public transportation from being overcrowded with long lines. Vanessa Cleophas tells us more.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. assures the Department of Transportation or DOTR that commuters' welfare will be prioritized in any agency's decision. Among the President's directives are improvement of train rehabilitation, making travel more comfortable, and if possible, implementing reforms to prevent public transportation from being overcrowded with long line. The President also expressed his intention to increase the number of trains in operation as well as extended the operating hours of the Light Rail Transit or LRT Line 1 and 2 and the Metro Rail Transit or MRT 3. The President also approved Transportation Secretary Giovanni Lopez's proposal to extend the validity of new vehicle and motorcycle registrations from 3 years to 5 years, aiming to make transaction more hassle-free for new vehicle owner. The Secretary reported to the President that this year, the cashless payment system implemented on the MRT3 has yielded positive results, while similar systems are being prepared for LRT1 and 2 before the end of 2026. Construction continues on the MRT Quezon Avenue Station facility. By 2027, partial operations are targeted for the North-South commuter railway covering the section from Valenzuela to Malolos. In the same year, MRT7 is expected to partially open, connecting Quezon City and Bulacan, while the Malolos-Clark extension is scheduled for 2028. Also in the same year, a demonstration for partial operation of the Metro Manila Subway is planned, with full operation expected by 2032. This is Vanessa Cleophas for Eurotv News.
Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro and Japanese ambassador has formally signed the second supplemental loan of the Philippines worth more than 8 billion pesos. The mentioned deal was for the rehabilitation of the Metro Rail Transit or MRT Line 3. Here's the report.
The Philippines and Japan has formally signed a second supplemental loan for the rehabilitation of the Metro Rail Transit or MRT3 Line 3. Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro, together with Japanese Ambassador to the Philippines Endo Kasuya, both signed a deal worth 8.175 billion pesos. The said project is expected to be completed in 2029. Representatives from the MRT Management, Land Transportation Office, and Japan International Coordinating Agency or JICA witnessed the signing ceremony. Lazaro noted that the approved loan reflects on a deeper relationship between Japan and the Philippines. The rehabilitation aims to restore the old safety structure of MRT-3, which has a vital role for commuters. 141 million passengers were catered by the MRT-3 for 2025 alone, the highest in over decades ago.
Urban mobility remains one of the most pressing challenges faced by our rapidly growing cities. In Metro Manila, the MRT-3 line plays a crucial role.
I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all those involved for their hard work and dedication. As always, it is an honor to be an important partner of the Philippine government in providing a more comfortable life for the Filipinos.
Transportation Assistant Secretary Giovanni Lopez welcomes the support of Japan and said that the rehabilitation has commenced on November 2025. Last year, around 400,000 passengers were serviced by the MRT-3 daily.
We thank the government of Japan for its steadfast support and continued partnership in our transport development efforts. Our goal is to provide a better commuting experience that respects the time and safety of every passenger.
The rehabilitation includes a general overhauling of trains, replacement of the main line, restoration of bogie frames and assemblies, and upgrading the subsystems and power systems. It was 2023 when the Philippines and Japan signed a supplemental loan for the Phase 2 of the MRT-3 rehabilitation project, which has the amount of 6.9 billion pesos. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
After the ambush of Barogo Surigao del Sur Ronito Martizano and his security escort, the two are finally in stable condition and is now under recovery. Here's Vanessa Cleofas for the details.
Barobo Surigao del Sur Mayor Ronito Martizano and his security escort Kevin Mark Claridad are now in stable condition and recovering after sustaining injuries when the vehicle they were riding was ambushed yesterday, February 3 at 4:10 p.m. along Barangay Dughan. They were hit in the back and shoulder and were immediately given medical treatment after being rushed to the hospital. According to the latest report from authorities, a person of interest is currently being monitored while the investigation continues to gather additional information and evidence regarding the incident. Photos and videos shared online by the Barobo Surigao del Sur LGU show that Mayor's vehicle's window was almost shattered due to the number of bullets that hit. In an interview, Surigao del Sur Governor Johnny Pimentel said that authorities have already identified one of the gunmen who is reportedly from Barobo and allegedly a former aide of Mayor Martizano. Despite this, the investigating authorities have not yet released an official statement regarding the motive behind the ambush, which is still being determined. However, it is possible that it was personal or politically motivated. Meanwhile, Police Brigadier General Marshal Mariano Magistrado IV, Regional Director of Police Regional Office 13, strongly condemned the attack on the mayor, urging authorities to intensify efforts to find those responsible and hold them accountable under the law. Other officials from Barobo have also issued statements condemning the incident, noting that it is a serious threat to security and peace, not only for local leaders but also for the community as a whole. The Surigao del Sur Police Provincial Office has encouraged the public not to spread unverified information about the ambush that does not come from official source to avoid causing confusion and fear among the people. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
The province of Negros Occidental has been placed under red alert status due to the tropical depression Basyang. Catherine Landito tells us the details.
The Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council and the Emergency Operations Center of Negros Occidental were placed under red alert status. The move is part of the province preparedness measure for the possible effects of Tropical Cyclone Basyang, which is expected to pass through the province. Along with this, various provincial response clusters have been activated to ensure swift and coordinated emergency response. The PDRRMC has once again reminded all residents to remain cautious and vigilant and to cooperate with government preparedness efforts as authorities continue to closely monitor weather conditions and issue official advisories. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
A couple was arrested after attempting to sell their 12-day-old child in exchange for a business startup money. The said transaction was stopped by an entrapment operation in San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. Shai Morales has the report.
Business capital, that was the exchange for the 12-day-old infant sold by the child's own parents. For the amount of 27,500 pesos, the couple planned to start their own street food business in exchange for a newborn baby. That is what emerged from the investigation conducted by the authorities. Following this, the couple were immediately arrested in an entrapment operation by the PNP Women and Children Protection Center in a known mall in San Jose del Monte, Bulacan this Monday, February 2. They were apprehended after receiving the mentioned amount inside an envelope. On the other hand, according to the parents of the child, the initial price they asked in exchange of the baby was 10,000 pesos to 15,000 pesos, but the envelope holding the money has the amount of 20,500 pesos. Currently, the 12-month-old infant is under the care of the National Authority for Child Care, or NACC. NACC also issued a statement regarding the crime. According to NACC Undersecretary Janela Ejercito Estrada, a child's life must never be used as a source of income and definitely not in exchange of money, regardless of any situation. She also added that NACC will remain standing with the rights of every child to having a safe and loving family. She emphasized that no one has the right to abuse any child, even over circumstances requiring financial solutions. Estrada, on the other hand, promised that the child will receive proper care and protection under NACC. The suspects are now under police custody and will be facing charges for violations of the RA 9208 as amended by RA 10164 and RA 11862, otherwise known as the Expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2022 for qualified trafficking. Violations of RA 7610 or the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation and Discrimination Act will also be charged against the couple for child abuse. This is Shai Morales reporting for Eurotv News.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez described social media as a threat in spreading fake news. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Group, and others are only some of the root cause of violations such as hate speech and harmful online contents. Following this, Sanchez laid out measures to counter the issue. Son Santiago tells us the details.
Governments about the dangers of social media. Now I am here in Dubai to tell you and explain that Spain is walking the talk. We're fighting back and we will continue to do so.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez carried out 5 measures against critical issues of the digital space, describing social media as a failed state. In his speech on the ongoing World Government Summit in Dubai, Sanchez cited the pressing threat because of social media. According to him, social platforms made laws be ignored, disinformation thrive, and hate speech being prevalent. Thus, the Spanish Prime Minister announced that something must be done to combat the problem by carrying out rules for everyone's protection.
An integral part of their lives, of their reality. So if we want to protect them, there's only one thing we can do: take back control.
According to Sanchez, there are 5 key approaches his administration will focus on starting next week. First, by holding platform executives criminally liable for failing to remove illegal or hateful content. At the same time, making algorithmic amplification of illegal content a new criminal offense. They will also develop a tool to track and quantify how digital platforms fuel division and amplify hate, leading to legal, financial, and moral penalties. On the other hand, Spain will work with public prosecutors to investigate and pursue infringements committed by Grok, TikTok, and Instagram. Lastly, they will also seek to impose a social media ban for minors under 16 to protect children from pornography and violence. It can be recalled that Australia established a world first last year when it banned young teenagers from some of the world's most popular social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As he closed his speech, Sanchez said these measures were made to carry a healthy and democratic space toward a good social media in Spain.
We must act with courage, with unity, and with hope, because moments like this define generations, and generations like us define the future for the generations to come. So let's rise to the task. Let's choose governance over resignation, cooperation over fragmentation, responsibility over silence. Let's return social media to the promised land that it should have never abandoned. Shukran, thank you very much.
This is Son Santiago for Eurotv News.
Calvin Abueva on his way to his new team Converge 5 or 6 years after he was traded by his former team Titan Ultra Giant Risers. Meanwhile, Alex Yala and Janice Gen duo is going to the quarterfinals of the WTA 500 Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open after beating round of 16 doubles event opponents Laila Fernandez and Kristina Miladinovic. Kyle Basa has the sports news.
Titan Ultra Giant Risers traded Calvin the Beast Abueva to the Converge Fiber Xers. It was announced this Tuesday. Included in the trade was Abueva in exchange for Ray Suerte, King Caralipio, and Mark Omega. He only played for one conference, specifically in the Season 50 Philippine Cup, where he averaged 23.6 points. Despite only representing the team for only a few months, he was the third best player of the conference. He was only behind Junmar Fajardo, who was the first ever PBA player to achieve the Ramon Fernandez Finals MVP after they beat TNT in the PH Cup Finals this past week, and Juan Gomez de Liaño, who is going to be his next duo in Converge. He will be reuniting with longtime patron Dennis Delta Pineda, the coach of Titan Ultra. He will be playing with Titan Ultra this next conference of the 50th season of the PBA. Alex Ayala and Janice Chen duo beat Leila Fernandez and Kristina Miladinovic in the round of 16 matchup in the WTA 500 Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open. The Pinay-Indonesian tandem claimed the first set with their great. In the second, Fernandez-Miladinovic bounced back, proceeding to be a deciding factor in the final set. It turned out to be an insane match in the third, as the scores were in a deadlock situation. But Ayala and Chen were the victor in those final moments. The final scores of the game are 7-5, 3-6, and 10-6. The Ayala-Chen duo will proceed in the quarterfinals of the tournament. World number 45 Alex Ayala will be facing Alexandra Sesnovic of Turkey later tonight in the round of 16 singles event. This is Kyle Basa reporting for Eurotv News. My voice is so sexy.
Filipina and America's Got Talent winner Jessica Sanchez is ready to go. I'm sorry. Go back to the Philippines for her own concert. Sam Marta says more.
Singer and America's Got Talent Season 20 Grand winner Jessica Sanchez will return to the country again for her upcoming concert. This was announced through a social media post by Wilbur's Live, where the official poster for the said concert was released. This marked the singer's return to the big stage after winning last year. Sanchez is expected to give her fans an unforgettable night through her powerful voice and heartfelt music. Her concert ticket will be available starting February 15 at exactly 12 noon at all ticket outlets nationwide. Meanwhile, the Jessica Sanchez Live in Manila concert will take place on May 16, 2026 Saturday at the Smart Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City. This is Sam Martos for Eurotv Showbiz News.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit yourtvph.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You may also catch our live broadcast through our social media accounts and via Pinoy Extreme channel. I'm ALVIN PELOBELLO. Thanks for joining us. This is Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe. Have a good night, everyone. My voice is so sexy.